Hello and welcome to Steve Knows. Today I want to talk about the Quest 2's power boost for better visuals and more frames, potential specs for the Quest 3 based on new reports, more virtual reality tech from people that brought us Sword Art Online inspired tech before, and this one is also just as interesting. We also have new games, updates, and the $100 giveaway is still on until St. Stephen's Day, so please join the Discord. I've also got a few game keys to drop there as well, and some bigger exclusive titles for my patrons. So I think that has enough chin wagging. Let's get started. Well, an out of the blue mic drop happened on Twitter as the Oculus developer account posted, "Today we are excited to announce that you have more GPU compute power to work with on Meta Quest 2 devices. 7% to be exact. All developers can start taking advantage of the new 525 MHz GPU frequency, which is up from 490 for better app performance. And if that does not require you to change your trousers, I do not know what will." So the Quest actually has some quirks in it to help maintain battery life and keep the heat down, such as dynamically changing the clocking speed of the GPU, so apps that don't need the power don't use the power to help maintain battery life. The speed of course is not as high as on the Pico 4 with the speed of 587 MHz, but that has much better architecture for heat dissipation and can let that XR1 Gen 1 loose. So with more processing cycles per second, developers can make use of this by increasing the app resolution, or maybe some apps can now push 120 frames as well. And to be clear, this is the new cap. So the dynamic GPU usage will still be in play, maintaining battery life, it will still exist, but the new clock speed peak has higher potential now. So games that take advantage of it, you may see a small dip in battery life, hopefully not too much. And a shout out to Tristan on Twitter for calling them out about Carmack leaving and Meta's inefficiencies, which Carmack stated and moaned about as he walked out the door. Thank you, Tristan. And another quirk of this feature is, as well, to activate the new cap, users will have to take off the headset and put it back on again, or tap the power button to put it on standby twice to activate that new cap. They did state though in version 49 this should be sorted out and be made available automatically without any consumer intervention or effort, but we're currently on version 47, so version 49, it could be a little while away. There's not much information on how they achieve this either. I just hope they didn't realise that they actually have a little more headroom before the heating becomes a risk, and they actually discovered new ways to optimise processes instead, because that would mean that we would have even more power, even more gains coming from the Gen 2 chip for the Quest 3 if they find new ways to get more out of this technology. So rather exciting. And talking about the Quest 3, that moves me on quite nicely to something where it hints at the new device when it's coming out, more confirmation of the Quest 3, but also some of its specs. So last week I mentioned Carmack leaving, and I'm wondering if it influenced this huge article that Facebook posted about Reality Labs looking at the past year they've just gone through and then the future of this space, especially when they have some of the wording that are like, "We are committed, we will make changes," or it could just be a coincidence, but I like to think the former. But anyway, I'm going completely off topic. There is a section in this long article that has a few tidbits, and the first of which is, we expect to see new competitors joining us in building AR and VR next year. And I wonder what on earth they are talking about, competitors. Maybe they're referring to Vive joining the standalone space with their Vive Focus, which is not the official name, what we saw a tease of. Perhaps they know things that we don't, it's very possible, they are a big corporate, but it goes on to say Meta will also have new devices of its own to share, including the successor of the Meta Quest 2, our all-time best-selling VR device. You're going to love it! And you're definitely going to love the Meta Quest Gaming Showcase in spring, where we'll once again show off some of the awesome new games coming in the next year. And if San Andreas is not in this showcase, I think it's safe to say this game is probably not happening. That many years and not a single word about it for something that would sell devices is sus. So this is referring to the Quest 3 headset that many of us are eager for, and for reasons I'll touch on in a second, which confirms its release, or at least the showcase of it, to be in 2023. But it says including, so it implies even more devices are going to be showcased, perhaps their AR device, because that seems to be an area of heavy investment for Meta. Or maybe another Pro model that fixes the downfalls of the existing device, or some accessories. I'd love something like some VR peripherals, like the PlayStation VR aim controller. That would be so good for FPSs. But adding on to what I just said anyway, mentioning the Quest 3, it could contain the Quest Pro lenses based on some new reports about Meta's creation of those lenses. They are unique, They created them from scratch, and they're actually one of the greatest pancake lenses I've ever tried. So they're in this article here, go on some spiel about their journey, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. I'll link it down below if you want to check it out. But the gist of it is, given the investment and effort that they've put into creating these lenses, and Meta themselves saying these premium headsets, like say the Pro, are ways of getting new tech into a device and into consumer hands that would then cascade down into these budget models. They said that to me in person, so that is their words. It would make sense to see the Quest 3 use these optics, and when that's in a $400, $500 headset, that would be incredible when combined with the next generation XR2 chip, so it has even more power. The Quest 3 could actually make the Quest Pro look old and ancient just a year later after its release, even though it doesn't have the iron face tracking. Moving on to the folks that were developing the Half Dive, the hyped device to give us a Sword Art Online experience in the real world. This was a device where you could lie down and interact with the virtual world. It was pretty crazy, but unfortunately, the project was cancelled. They didn't take payment from the Kickstarter though, which is quite nice, because that would have left them with a bad reputation and ruined what they're doing next. This company, DiverX, have pivoted to start developing haptic gloves. They have coined this the contact glove that will track each finger, so it will support hand tracking and positional tracking on Steam VR if you attach a Tundra or Vive tracker onto the back of the device. It will also include input emulation, so gestures, finger flicks, things like that can be mapped to buttons, so you shouldn't ever actually need to use a controller with these devices. That's if it works, of course. So you'll feel the world around you and be able to interact with it and feel it, which is just it's what we're aiming for in VR. We want to go full dive. Unfortunately, the haptics, it doesn't look to cover the whole hand, instead the fingertips, as it has a device that will contract, so you have the feeling of weight and touch. But it's not a simple open and close mechanism completely. It does have 3 points of control on the finger to create the feeling of motion as well, so sliding your fingertips. There was also something pretty cool in the video, in the promotional video that they had. It looked like magnetically attachable controllers that attaches to the palm of your hand via a magnet, which means you can just let go of the controller and swap between using a remote for traditional play and then having total immersion when you want to interact with something. It could also give your palm a feeling of haptic touch, because the video didn't seem to show that there were haptics in the palm, it was all on the fingertips. This Kickstarter is live and it's already passed its goal, which is fantastic news, and they seem to be selling the glove without haptics as well, so if you just want a hand-tracked experience for a cheaper price, you can. But the haptic starter pack is at 94,400 yen, which is around £600 or $715. Not cheap. It's that time in the updates for the QuickFire news now to let you guys know what's been going on in the game updates, new titles, quick and easy tidbits, things that I don't have to completely waffle on about for too long. So recently we had some rock tunes for Beat Saber. Now Unplugged, coined the hand tracking guitar hero of VR, has added 20 new songs to the mix and added controller support. So you no longer need to play with hand tracking, because hand tracking, oh my gosh. There will definitely be more appeal for this, being able to play with the controllers. The hand tracking system is flawed, it's not the game's fault, it's just the software, the hardware, the limitations of occlusion that cause this problem. Let's rock out with our touch controllers out. Sorry, just thinking of calling it a touch controller. God. A VR win to me, as one of the largest creative software companies, Adobe, have dropped a VR supported tool on Steam, the Adobe Substance Modeler. This is currently sitting at 34% off as an introductory offer, and it's not part of their creative subscription service either. This is a 3D modeling tool, so if you're a professional, this could be handy, although it is £83, and its original RRP before discount, $125. Damn! Now, much to many people's frustration, Aspire 2 did not want you to cooperate with your teammates in co-op mode. Someone has seen the error of their ways though, and Aspire 2 now has working cooperative communications. You can now talk to each other. I just don't get why it wasn't there in the first place on release. It seems paramount. The game should also be heading to other VR platforms soon in 2023. The new game Primal Hunt, the dino hunting experience from the future. Cyborg dinos are coming to the Quest and Pico stores next month. We have spoken about this on the channel before, but its time is coming soon. So the 19th of January, we'll be able to experience this game, and a new gameplay tease has given us more insight in what we can expect, and the game looks way better than the initial tease. Huge creatures, lots of combat, and apparently lots of gore. So that is it from me today, guys. Not a huge one. Things slowed down near Christmas. Employees are off. You don't want to make too many changes to the ecosystem as we get lots of new joiners. But we did get the huge piece of news around increasing the quest's power, which is brilliant. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please click subscribe, give Steve a Christmas miracle, and hopefully I will see you next time. Happy gaming, guys. Good day.